So now you want to draw some nice arcs, for example on the silk screen for your footprints, or to have round copper traces for your RF design. For that we will use the arc tool. So click on the arc tool, click on the layer you want to draw, and first we'll remove all of these drawings so we can make it again. Place the first point of the arc, and then move the cursor, and as you can see the second point will try to follow your crosshair. So either it tries to follow the horizontal line or it tries to follow the vertical line, which one matches better. And once your second point is where you want it, click again to finish the arc, and we can do the rest. Now what we draw are only 90-degree arcs, but we will see later how to change that. Now, what if we, for example, if I do it this way, then we see that the arc is on the wrong side. Now there are two solutions to cope with that. Either you move your cursor so on the other side of the arc line, so the arc is on the right side, or you press on Shift. For example, if I do it this, now I don't press on Shift. Here you see that the arc is not following my vertical cursor, it's only following the horizontal crosshair. If I press on Shift, it's the other way around. Now the arc is following my vertical cursor and ignores my horizontal crosshair. And this way it's also easier, or it's a way to change the arc side. So either using Shift or just by switching on which side of the line you are. And now we've made all the arcs. But this is an LED, and on an LED there is a side which is flat, which is generally the cathode, and the cathode is always pin 1, should always be pin 1, so it's this one. So here we don't want complete 90 degrees arcs. How do we do that? We change it using the properties. So select the arc or just hover over the arc, right click and edit the properties. This applies to almost all objects. You can edit the properties of lots of objects, and this is how you can change them. Now we see that this arc is minus 20 degrees. If we change it, for example, to minus 70 degrees, up we see that it starts a bit above, because this is the starting point. Now this angle is only 70 degrees instead of 90 degrees. So let's make it 60. Let's apply it. Yeah, let's make it 60. We have the one of both done. Let's exit this one. Now let's edit the properties of the next arc. You don't have to select it, it just has to be under the crosshair. Now we don't just change this value because this is the starting point, this was the ending point. So we need to change the starting point, and we need to either add or remove 30 degrees. Let's try to remove 30 degrees. Yeah. And now the starting point is at 150 degrees. The same way you can actually change the width of the arc afterwards, but keep the height and the width the same, because ellipses are not really well supported and you will run into corner cases. But this way we change the arcs, and what's useful is that we can still snap on the arcs at the points even if they are not on the grid, and then draw the last line. And this is how you use the arc tool. But there is yet another much simpler way to do it, and probably the one you want to remember. So let's remove the existing arcs. Let's keep the one arc and say this is the one we drew. And instead of drawing additional arcs, we just take this one, grab the endpoint, and just drag the endpoint up this way. And now we have both endpoints on the right points, and we just have to draw the line, which is then finished. And if you drag, so let's remove this line, if you drag this endpoint and press Shift, you can actually change the arc diameter, and this makes it a lot easier.